Everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm going to just put my camera on just for a moment just to say hi. Please excuse the green giraffe in the background. I'm sitting in a spare room. There we go. Hi guys. My name is Anwin and I'll be taking you guys for journalism or JRNS 6221. All right. So I also take other German modules, media study modules. Some of you know me, some of you don't, but this is me. And always just think putting a face to the name always just, makes things a little bit more relatable. So you will get used to my voice and me chatting on the groups and everything, but just to say this is me. All right, so now that I've done that, sorry, excuse the big hoodie. It is freezing in KZN. Well, I'm up in Kloof, so it is very chilly where we are. Not nearly anything like Joburg or Cape Town or the rest of the Cape, rest of SA. But yeah, so I'll just tell you a little bit about me and then we'll get on to the module. So I'm a mom, I have a 9-year-old. If you ever hear random noises in the background of my videos, which I do try to avoid as much as possible, that will be chickens or ducks generally making those noises. Even in my house, currently I have 4 chickens that are sleeping in my spare bathroom. So I'm a little bit crazy when it comes to that, but I have been part of EC for over a decade, and journalism is where it all started for me. They needed a journalism lecturer. I started, and I've never left. And I know journ is not for everyone. I know for most of you guys, you're doing the module because you have to, not because you want to, because it's a requirement. And I will never ever hold that against anyone. But for some of you, maybe you aren't doing psych as your major, and so you'll end up doing journ 2 and media 2 and what have you. But even though it might not be your thing, what I want you to remember is that for those who are studying psych and thinking about working with people, that's all journalism actually is about. It's about working with people. It's about analyzing people, looking at the world around us, seeing what's happening, seeing how it's impacting us. When there's trends on social media, how suddenly society changes. When a president says they're not going to run for a second term of office, what those ramifications are going to be on, in this case, America and the rest of the world, and us taking on the information and, thinking about it for ourselves and how it's going to impact us. So you guys are surrounded by media every single day of your lives, from those who choose to read what's going on in the news, to social media, to billboards on the side of the road, TV, radio, Netflix, all your streaming platforms. We are constantly surrounded by media. And that's important to remember, because it is one of our most influential aspects of society because of its prevalence and how much it is ingrained within our society. I mean, that's how we find out about things going on around the world, or even in our own towns, or whatever it may be. It's the media that tells us what's happening, and not what to think, but what to think about, and where to put our focus and all that kind of thing. And it's that trust that has been developed over the years that we, especially nowadays, question and push those boundaries and, start to think for ourselves, but at the same time still needing the media. So even though you might not be studying journ because you want to, there's a lot of it that is really interesting and really important and relevant to other aspects of society. So, it's part of our everyday life. So there's a lot of people that say, well, I don't I'm not on any social platforms. I'm like, yeah, but do you look at a newspaper, listen to the radio? It's not only social media. It's not the only way that we receive media. It's all around us all the time. And it's important to know about what is going on in the world around us. So before I throw you into the module, I want to know from you guys, do you actually, pay attention to what's going on in the world around you? Do you know any interesting stories that have happened in the last few days besides Biden? I like to just know, and please know that there is no judgment here. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and it's more about thinking about how you are currently, to know that if you aren't okay. So Kate's given a nice honest answer there. Sometimes that's good, that's fine. Sometimes it's better than none, purely for the sake of the semester. So the reason why I ask if you guys engage with media is because you are going to be doing a portfolio for this module. I'm going to get to all that in a minute. But you're going to be creating a portfolio. You're going to be writing pieces of journalistic writing and doing research and everything. So you need to start paying attention to what's going on around you, because those stories are going to become your story. So it's, I understand we have major media overload, sensory overload, information overload, the works. COVID did a real number on us. And also because media in today's day and age is 24/7. But at the same time, we need to know a little bit of what's going on so that you're able to use that information in your POE, so for academic purposes. But I don't actively pay attention, but the news always seems to find me. Yeah, that's it. Your For You page will somehow bring something up, and once you watch one thing, that's what the algorithm decides you must love it, and then your whole page is all about that one thing. But it's good for us to know the pitfalls of the media. It's good for us to know the strengths of the media. I'm not one of those people that are blindsided and going, oh, the media is perfect. It's the be all and end all. That's not true in the slightest. We should question the media. We should question the information they give us. But it's about learning when to question and when to see the truth and that kind of thing, which you're going to learn about through the semester. So I probably do my collabs a little bit differently to your other lecturers, particularly for journalism, because of the practical nature of this module. So just to explain to you guys that this module is made up of 3 academic elements. Sorry, let me just, this document doesn't want to shift. Okay. So we have 3 things. We have a part, which is your assignment. You have your ICE, which you guys, I will speak to in a minute. And then your summative, your final piece of work that you create is this portfolio of evidence, which should show me the work you have worked through during the semester. So the POE has aspects of all the learning units, and it should be that I can see your understanding of the module through this one document. Okay, I'm going into detail on this because for some of you, this might be your first semester at BC. For some of you, you just started last semester or second semester. I don't know. We have because of our out of sync capabilities, we have all sorts of different options available to you guys. I'm just going through things in detail. So your ICE are going to be your 4 activities that you choose. They're all going to be based on your learning units. I am in the process of creating those for you. I'm doing some self-graded ones. so that you can get your feedback and your results straight away, rather than long written ones that people, students previously were saying they were just taking too much time. So I'm just shifting things up, like I said in my announcement. So I should have those for you guys by the end of this week. And there will be 6, you have to do 4. All right. Even though you will get a mark for the self-graded ICE tasks, please note it is about the attempt of doing the ICE task and trying to do well in it. It's not that, okay, you got 40, so you only get 40% of that 25% out of the full 100. No, it's that I can see that you've attempted the ICE task, you've applied yourself, so you will get that mark for that ICE task. So it's not about, you'll notice I don't have like masses of multiple attempts, because it's not about achieving perfection. It's about working through content, then looking at the questions I'm asking you to see if you've processed that content. So I don't want, getting full marks is always great, don't get me wrong, but if the marks are not perfect, that isn't going to negatively impact your ICE marks. Not completing things will negatively impact your ICE tasks. Does that make sense to you guys? And I do ask that question a lot, if things are making sense, because I'm the kind of lecturer that I will repeat things as many times as needed. There literally is no such thing as a dumb question, because chances are if you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it. Okay, so from the smallest to the biggest thing, I will try and answer. Okay, so like I said, I run my collabs a bit differently, because when it comes to your, I'm going to get to that in a second, Kate. Give me a minute. Actually, no, let me talk about it now. So there are no, because I'm doing your self-graded ones, there is going to be one final due date at the end of semester. So semester ends last week of October. So you'll probably find you need to have them all completed by mid-October. But what I would recommend doing as you work through the learning unit, not every learning unit will have ICE tasks, but as you work through different learning units with ICE tasks, go and complete the ICE task and you'll get your marks straight away. So you'll get that feedback instantly. So that works in your favor. So you can see whether or not you have broken down the knowledge, you're getting that feedback as you go. And there'll be some comments and stuff that will come up with those self-graded ICE tasks. Okay, so it's more about you pacing yourself through the semester. As soon as I know when we have to submit, like I said, because of class ending or collabs ending end of October for us, I would probably say by mid-October, those will have to be in. So if I was you guys, by the end of September, you should try to get all your ICE tasks done. All right, so that you know they're done. They will be towards the first few learning units. It probably won't be towards, say, the last learning unit. While I have them done, I've also got to think about when ICE is due and, all that kind of thing. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to just put it out then. If it's up to you, you can do it, or you can focus on the earlier ones. Okay. But like I said, you will get that automatic feedback, which is helpful for you guys. All right. So your part is academic. It's going to be a more academic piece of writing. And then, as I was saying, with my lectures being slightly different, is that I am dealing with a practical module that I need to teach you guys, not only about theories, but I need to teach you more about how those theories become reality. So where other lecturers might break down one specific concept or, do a Q&A session or whatever, my focus in my collabs are to help you understand how the textbook becomes reality. So when you gather the evidence, how do you then turn that into a news story? How do you find different angles? How do you write in a journalistic way? Because it's not like academic writing. For this particular module, there's news writing, feature writing, opinion writing, broadcast writing. So the idea is that my collabs are more about to help you grasp the fundamentals of journalism in a practical manner, so that you're able to spend the time reading through the theory, looking through the notes, and looking through everything. But then I help you put that into the real world and make that actually applicable, because that is what's going to be important. So that is how I choose to work through the material. That's how I have had success in the past, because it's a mind shift going from academic writing to journalistic writing. And I am here to help you through that. Okay. So just before I get into other stuff, I just want to show you, I did post an announcement about this, but I want to show you for myself, then I know you have seen it. Okay. So obviously this is your course room that you are in now. Your module homepage, you would have gone to here, but under more resources, just to show you guys that everything is here, how to access your online timetable, resources from myself. Your ICE activities are all going to be there. If you actually click on ICE activities, the first one is there, based on Learning Unit 1. So very simple. I started off really easy for the first one, and then the rest will get more tricky as they go on. Not tricky in a bad way, tricky in making you think to make sure that you're actually grasping the material. Then we have just your intellectual integrity documents, your Harvard guide, and all your other student material. Here you'll find the link to my YouTube page where all our live collabs will be uploaded. So within 24 hours, the video will go up, and I'll send out an announcement saying it's up on YouTube if you weren't able to make the collab or need to go through things. Here is another link to your live collab, obviously which you guys are in now, but if you don't want to go look through the announcements, or if you don't want to go via WhatsApp, then you can go here to more resources, and then it's going to trying to move it, which I don't want it to do. Then you've also got your past document, and I'm going to speak to your due dates in a second. Okay, so everything is here. The lecture resources is all the extras that I've got there for you. There's some extra readings here that are going to help you with Learning Unit 1, then 2, 3, 4, and then all the different types of writing, and then your module outline is there as well. Okay, so everything that I have is available on here. For those of you who have had me before, that they will know that I did everything on OneDrive, but this semester I'm just putting everything straight onto VC, just because students had issues with logging in to OneDrive last semester, so I'm just wanting to avoid that. So everything is here for you guys. Okay, all with me so far? I know I'm probably overwhelming you. I know I'm probably giving you lots of information, but try not to panic. It's all the background stuff. Okay. Because it is the first day of lectures, it is physically impossible for me to expect you to have, in-depth studied Learning Unit 1. So that'll be next week's recording. But tonight was about touching base, giving you guys the background stuff and making sure you just know where to go and what to do. Okay. So in terms of your assessments, like I said, there's a part and the POE. So just here's your due dates. So the 12th of September is when your part is due, and your POE is due towards the end of November, 22nd of November. Right. So those dates are subject to change. That is obviously our first pass that has gone out. But they've given us a decent amount of time between when we start and when your part is due, which is nice. We've had issues in the past of them being too close together. So this time they've actually listened, and they've given us a really decent amount of time, which is awesome for you guys and for me. Okay. So have you guys received your textbooks yet? Or are they still on their way? Okay, Kate's got hers. Not yet. Okay. So just for anyone who hasn't got it, okay. So we're using the journalism principles and practices. You can get it secondhand. You don't have to get a new one. There are going to be some additional readings and stuff, but the only textbook is this one. If anyone from previous years tries to sell you craft a concept, just say no, because you guys don't use that textbook. Okay, you only use the one textbook, which is easier for you guys because there was too much content when it was two textbooks. So you guys are down to the one. All right, so that is important. I wouldn't say you can get away without the textbook, but for this particular module and what have you, you do need the textbook. There isn't a digital copy of it, unfortunately. So it's not like your media studies textbook that you can get online, and your NCTE, for those who are doing NCTE, some of those textbooks are available online. This one isn't. So you do have to get that hard copy. And students have said in the past, well, can't you just Google everything? You can, but at the same time, the approach that this particular module has taken, or the way in which the content, the questions are being asked and stuff, are specific to this textbook. So it would be detrimental to not have the textbook because there isn't a digital copy available to you. So you do need it. You can't get away without not getting it. If you are close to a campus, you also always have the option of going to an on-campus library and borrowing the book for a few hours, because I know the books are pricey and I completely understand that, but at the same time, we need academic books for the sake of education. Okay, right. So before I start my ramblings, we won't have a full session tonight because, like I say, obviously tonight is the first one. Like I knew most of you wouldn't have your textbooks. It's to tell you tonight I'm just going to tell you guys where to focus on. Like I said, I'll be releasing another recording for you next week, but I want to know, before I get into stuff with you, I want to know if you have any questions from me. Are you all on the WhatsApp group? For those who want to be, should I say. It's not a requirement. What I find is I do the students, particularly closer to assessment time, use the WhatsApp groups. I know a lot of lecturers don't have WhatsApp groups. I'm just one that kind of likes them. But I am just being a little bit more strict this semester, that trying to keep working hours unless it's an emergency. That's not to say that won't change closer to assessment due dates at all, but because I do know that people are studying all around the world. But just so that I'm not glued to my phone 24/7, I am going to try and keep within working hours. I'm also lecturing during the day. I'm at the Durban North Campus. So if I don't reply to you, quickly, just know I'm in lectures and will reply to you when I get a break. All right. But yeah, any questions from you guys for tonight after all that I've just thrown at you? And again, there's no too big question, too big a question, too small a question. I'm more than happy to answer. And if my WhatsApp replies are short and not in depth and not jokey or whatever, no, it's because I'm quickly replying to you in between classes and stuff. That's all I would say, because I know that most of you are contacting me when you're studying, and I'm generally in class during the day. So yeah, just know that if I am replying quickly and with not not making it all pretty and soft and all that, it's because I'm replying quickly to make sure that the information gets to you as quickly as possible. Kayuri, there's the WhatsApp group link. It is also in my first welcome announcement. I did put it there as well. So it's purely up to you if you want to be part of it or not. I often have students who don't want to be part of it. I do run a very tight ship, and there is no room for being mean to one another, hate speech, chirping each other, being rude to each other. To me, the WhatsApp groups are a privilege, and you guys are all adults. I'm an adult. We must respect one another. Often we end up finding we sending pictures of funny animals to each other just to lighten the mood and help us through the day. When we've talked about something funny in class, but it's an extension of our academic space. So as long as everyone is respectful and nice to one another, the group will stay open. Okay. I've only ever had an issue once, and I've been doing this for a good few years now. So, it's up to you guys how we run things. Okay. Otherwise, it'll go to admin only just for me to post announcements to you guys, which is really boring because I feel like I get to know you a bit better in the WhatsApp groups, just because there's more time, obviously. All right. So, like I said, I knew that tonight was not going to be a night full of content and breaking things down. I will go back to some stuff from Learning Unit 1 and speak about Learning Unit 2 in our next collab. All right. So that would have given you guys time to work on Learning Unit 1, look at my video next week that I'll release, all that kind of thing. So just to tell you where to focus and what to think about. So your first learning unit is the foundation of helping you to understand who we are as a South African people in terms of media because of our past. Now, I know a lot of people are sick of talking about apartheid. I think it's been 30 years since democracy, really. But the truth of the matter is we're still feeling the impact and the consequences of the apartheid era today. And it is because of apartheid that a lot of the media are so quick to fight for their rights of free press, that they will stand up for corruption within government, that they are making sure that they're holding each other accountable, not only society. So it's important to understand our past, to know what our present currently is like, especially because things have shifted not only in terms of our media, in terms of accessibility and what they are or aren't allowed to do, but also, technology has shifted, going from your traditional media to your new media. So it's important to look to the past to understand where we are now, and just kind of be not, it sounds cheesy when I say be grateful. It's not about being grateful, but it's being aware, being cognizant of why journalists fight so hard to have freedom when, you guys, well, most of you, we will have some older students, but have grown up in a free society. So if your media you've received has always been in a state where press freedom is available, where there's others that still remember the days of censorship and what have you. And that's what I'll give you guys time to work on over the next 2 weeks. But what I need you to focus on is firstly putting South African media in the context of global media, because while we are our own, and we are our own people, and we do things in our own way, we are still part of a global media. We still watch international movies and listen to, Taylor Swift or Cardi B or whatever, over local musicians. We are part of a global media, and it's important to understand that, because mass media, the intention there is reaching the masses. And there's mass media on a global scale, and there's mass media as a on a South African scale and an African scale and, Southern Hemisphere and so on. But what's important to understand is that global context, and then more specifically focusing on essay and the history of journalism, as well as then how that influences us today. Now, the one thing that I will also say for you guys, and this is going to sound crazy coming from your lecturer, but it's not necessarily, when you're reading through the stuff, it's not all about the nitty-gritty. Please remember, this is not an exam module. It's not about learning the exact date to the exact event and memorizing it. It's about looking at the timelines and looking at the dates and looking at, like, if they give you a list of 10, picking out the ones that are most important. So when TV was first broadcast or when the SABC was created. It's about knowing things in a more general context that then when you do your additional research, you can add in more minute details. So for example, when we look, if before you've even had a chance to look at the material, what are the words that come to mind when we talk about the apartheid era? What did the government do to not only the media, but the people of South Africa? Okay, segregate, good. Segregation was the be-all and end-all. Okay, so when you're thinking and when you're reading through the content, it's about understanding segregation as a whole, understanding what segregation meant for the South African people. But then it's also how segregation filtered down to our publications, how white people got different publications to POC, how even Black people got different publications to Indian people or colored people. It's about how stories were left out, or how stories were used and manipulated on Black radio to try and make the, I say in air quotes, which you can't see, but make the natives feel more at ease with this oppressive segregation that was put in place. So that is not my terminology, that is the terminology used by the media and by government to make those from South Africa feel less than, so that they feel what was happening was valid. Okay. So it's important to understand those kinds of concepts. So it's about understanding things in a bigger picture. It's understanding how things work in terms of laws and regulations, but what it did to the people as a whole. The understanding that history then helps us understand our current environment and where we all work in, where we all fit in together. All right. So how the past influenced us, and also how new media, how technology is influencing us going forward. And even though we are shifting with our types of publications, the way we're communicating, I mean, like us having this online lecture now, there's been this shift, but there's still things that linger from the past that are always going to be there to keep reminding us and keeping us in check. So when you are working through the material, this is what you need to be thinking of. So, what I've said to students in the past is, if you are a note taker, read the textbook, and as things like stand out to you, write those sentences down. If you're a highlighter, highlight those sentences. It's not like psych and comms and all that, where you need to know every single little detail because you don't know what could come up in the exam. We know what the assignment is going to be. We know what the exam is going to be. So you don't need to focus on that. Yours is going to be more about painting an academic picture for your part, and then a journalistic picture for your POE. So it's about knowing the bigger picture, with then having areas of focus where they've asked for specific examples and specific points of information. How do you feel about that, guys? what I would recommend doing, even if you don't have your textbook, you can already start looking through the material. Like I showed you under under the lecture resources, there's extra readings I've put there. There's extra readings on VC Learn. In terms of the post-apartheid, not post-apartheid, the during apartheid era section, there is a lot of stuff online. There's a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of content. So you can already start working through the active learning and working through that material. And then when your textbook comes, you can then go and support that studying that you've done, bring in and look at the resources and look at what the perspective of the textbook. So don't feel that if your books haven't come, you can't start. Please start. Look at the active learning. Look at what other resources you can find online and start breaking it down, and start looking at the content. Because it's a history section, you are able to find additional resources that are able to support the textbook, not replace it, but support it. Okay. Right. Any questions from you guys before we wrap up for tonight? Anyone else? No? All right. Then that is us for tonight, guys. So good luck working through Learning Unit 1 over the next 2 weeks. And then on our live collab, I'm going to break down aspects of that a little bit more with you guys, as well as start looking at Learning Unit 2, because then you would have had some time to, have gotten into the material and what have you. All right. Everyone good? Pleasure. Pleasure, guys. Have a great evening, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye.